Hi guys, Debbie here. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back. So today's video is going to be a little first impressions on the Jeffree Star and Morphe collection brushes. It's the only thing from the collection I picked up. There was also a palette and the strawberry mist setting spray at the time, and now there's some lipsticks and glosses. Decided just to get the brushes. It's tools that I need more than anything in my kit at the moment, so they called my name because they're pink and my beauty room's pink, so I'm not going to lie, they're going to look beautiful in here. But also there's some really nice shapes and a mixture of natural hair which are great for blending, which I probably need a few more of those in my collection, and synthetic ones as well. There are some dupes in there from the original set, like the brow brush I already have, but I can always use more of those. So I decided for me they were a good buy. Also over this weekend, this video should be going up on a Friday evening. Yesterday, so Thursday, they started a 25% off all brushes, including brush collections and collabs on the Morphe website, or for the UK anyway. I don't know if that applies to all locations, but if it does, it's a chance to get them at a discount, so I thought it might be interesting to see my thoughts on them if you were thinking of picking them up. I did get them at a discount. I used Jeffree Star's code. The money goes to charity with that one, so that's why I decided to use that code, but that got 10% off, so they should have been £40, then cost me 36. And I think for 10 brushes, I was quite happy to pay basically £3.60 a brush, and you've got a very nice bag that they come in. It's going to reflect horribly off my ring light, I think, but it's quite shiny surface on it. But it's a nice roomy brush holder, should I say. If you look inside, there's lots of space, so you'd be able to get his previous set in here as well, although that did come with a case of its own. I'm sure you've seen these brushes, but these are the brushes. They are absolutely beautiful to look at. So just for reference purposes, this was the handle or the wand for the original set. This is my favourite highlight brush of the moment, so it was just handy sitting there. So he's changed up the packaging, but these do look a bit more sleek. They've got a very nice weight to them. They don't feel cheap is what I'm trying to say, although they are obviously plastic and they look like plastic. They don't feel cheaply made. They're like, you know, got some weight and a nice feel in the hand as such. I've not used them yet though, but that's just how they feel on first impressions. So I'm going to try and use as many of these as I can in my eye look today. I've done my brows already, so I won't be using the brow brush, but I've got, as I say, the brow brush that came with the original set. It's exactly the same apart from the wand is different, so they perform really well. Brow brush is a brow brush in my eyes, but it's a nice point to that, so you can get really precise little strokes. I'm not very good at brows, so I'm not the best one to tell you whether a brow brush is good or not, but there was 10 brushes in set, so we're going to play with the other 9, maybe not use them all, but I'm not going to use any other brushes from the collection. I'm just going to exclusively use these to make my eye look. And as I didn't buy the palette, I'm going to use a Jeffree Star palette, and it's one I've not used on camera before, so I'm really excited to use it. So it's the Beauty Killer, which was the first palette he brought out, and the first one obviously I added to my collection. I've been collecting them since the palettes came out, and I've got all of the Jeffree Star palettes. And these are the colours inside if you're not familiar with the palette. The only colour I can't use, because I literally can't pick it up anymore, is the gold Rich Bitch. It's completely hard panned over. Tried to fix it, I just can't get it to pick up at all, which is sad. But so there won't be any gold in this look, but I'm going to create a look with some of the other shades. Not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but it's mainly just to show you the brushes, perhaps give you a little bit of inspiration for an eye look at the same time. So without further ado, I'll scoot you in and we'll get started. So to start off my look, I'm going in with a transition shade today, so I'm going to go in with Courtney, which is a great shade in this palette because you can use it for contour, but it's also a really good transition. I'm taking the JS5 brush to do that, which is one of the, is it the biggest? Yeah, it's the biggest one of the natural hair brushes. And that's spreading out product really well, and I've found that with the other natural hair ones that I've already got from him. I love this shade because on my skin tone it is the perfect shade just to start an eye look if you want a transition shade. It's just that sort of level above my skin tone that shows. So I used to use Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek, but that was a little bit too pale and wouldn't show up, but this one is good. Dipped into this a lot. The star's almost gone. So I'm just running that through my crease and then using this brush to really blend that out, take that up pretty much all over my crease and probably 3/4 of the way up to my brow as well. And that's blended that really nicely. I've got no harsh edges at all. It's probably all I would use a brush like that for, because it's quite big in comparison to my eye shape. So if you look at that against my eye, it's like, it's massive, but it's good for that purpose. Then I'm going to go in with the next one down in terms of size. That's the JS9, so that one's got a bit more of a point to it, a bit more tapered. So I think that'll be good to go a bit lower into my eye socket as such. I'm going to take the shade Vanity, so that shade to do that. I'm going to build that in the outer sort of 2/3 of my crease. And as this is quite a dark shade, I'm taking my time to build it up rather than laying down too much colour at once. Also, that's helping with the blend, I think. When you first use these brushes, I found with the last set, they feel a little bit hard and kind of scratchy on the eyes. But the more you use them, the more comfortable, if that's the right word, to use them they are. So if you get them and that's what you think when you first use them, bear with them, because they do soften up with use and with washing. I know one thing that I was concerned about when buying brushes of this sort of price, when you get quite a lot in a set, is, are they going to be the sort of quality that's going to shed? But with the last set, I've not experienced any shedding at all, which I know is something that I've heard people say that can be an issue for Morphe brushes, but I've not really encountered that as a problem with the ones I've got. As I say, I've got the Elite ones and they don't shed at all. They're really, really good. I've had the odd bristle come out when I first started to use them, but not continual shedding problems as such. So whether I've just been lucky, I don't know, but I've not found them to be a problem. Now I've not got much product left on this brush because it's quite pointed. I'm going to use it just to drag some of the colour under my eyes as well. Okay, on my outer V kind of area, I'm going to go in with the shade Violence, so the purple. I'm using the larger of the two flat packing brushes for this. This is the JS11 brush. Again, for me as an application brush, it is a little bit too big for my eyes, I think. I'm going to spray that to avoid a fallout situation. Obviously, as this is a synthetic brush, you could use it with cream products or you could use it sprayed without any issues. It's laying down the colour fine and it's not massive, so if I take it in comparison to one of my Sigma brushes, it's a similar kind of size, perhaps a little bit more thin if you turn it that way, than the Sigma and the Sigma E55. So if you've got that one, it might help for reference. Yeah, it's just a flat packing brush really, but it's working pretty well. On the inner part of my lids there, I'm going to use the shade Expensive, so the blue. And the brush I'm going to use is the JS10. So it's a smaller version of the JS11 that we've just used, which I think I will prefer. Also, these brushes are available individually, which may be a good idea if you're only looking for one specific brush, but I'm going to pack that shadow pretty much over my lids. I'm liking that brush, as I say, a lot more than the first one, because you can get more control with it because it's smaller, and I think for colourful eye looks, that's definitely a bonus. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this brush. This is just the perfect size for me to get right in there where I want to get on the inner part of my lids. So I could be buying 1 or 2 more of this one. And then just where that expensive shade is meeting with the violent shade, I'm just going to take a bit of the shade Confession, which is this one, and just pat that in the centre. And I'm using the JS13 to do that. Really hard to show these on camera, but it's a little fluffy pencil brush. And that won't show that much, but it'll give me a little bit of a fade from one colour to the other, I'm hoping. And then I'm going to use the JS12, which is like a longer and a bit more splayed out version of the one we've just used. And I'm going to take a bit more of that Courtney shade just as a blending shade, just to blend on that inner edge there. I like that one because you can probably see as I'm using it on the eyes, it's flexible, so it's getting in there and moving quite well to like give me that little bit of a blend. It's not going to blend that much because I've laid down a shimmer, but I just wanted to really bring the transition shade down a bit to meet that, because I had a bit of a gap there, so this one's working well to get in there to do that. I ended up with like a cut crease shape without doing a cut crease. So that more precise packing brush definitely has a nice rounded edge to it to enable that. That looks a lot less stark and harsh than it did. Right, and my lower lash line and waterline, I'm going to go in with this pencil from Urban Decay, which is Mars. Applied that pretty liberally. I'm going to use my favourite little brush out of this set, so the JS10, the small packing brush. It's already got a bit of expensive on there, and I'm going to use that to blend out underneath. What I've done here is just turn it up on its edge, so I'm just using the edge of it as a smudging brush. So it's quite a multi-purpose little brush, because it can be used as a packing brush and as a smudge brush as such. When I get to that corner, I don't want to blend it too much into the shade that's there, so I just want to just sort of stop it there. Just cleaned off the JS13, so the little fluffy pencil brush, the smaller of the 2 pencil shaped ones, and I'm just going to use that with the shade Princess, which is the same as his Princess Cut Skin Frost, and it's a beautiful highlight. I'm just going to pack that into my inner corner. I feel like that's made all the difference to the look. I love that highlight. And to finish off the look, I thought I'd go in with one of the Barry M holographic toppers. This one's in the shade Asteroid, and I'm going to use the liner brush in the set to apply it, which is the JS14. This has a really precise point on it, so it should be really easy to get in there and be precise where I want to apply this to. It's quite stiff, it's not a very flexible brush at all. I only want to put that on the front portion up to about the middle ideally. It's probably one of the better brushes I've used for this purpose. Because it's not too flexible, it's allowing you to be quite precise, which is good. Wish I had a steadier hand though, I'm not the best at this. That wasn't a very even application, but it wasn't the brush's fault. Okay, so here's the look right now. I'm just going to hop off camera just for mascara and lips, and I'll be right back with you with some thoughts on the brushes. Okay guys, so here's the look all finished. And I've paired it with Anastasia's Bullet Lipstick in the shade Plumeria. This one, first time I've used it. Really like it actually, how it's playing off of the tones in the outer V there. So my thoughts on the brushes, these 3, sorry they're really dirty now because I've been using them in the look, but these 3 are my favourite because I do like smaller brushes. So the JS10, which is the small packing brush, really love that one. I can see me getting lots of use out of that both as I used it under the eyes as a smudge brush, but also to apply colour more precisely on the inner part of my lids, or even because of the rounded shape at the top, it'd be great for cut creases as well. And then this one, the JS13, so the little fluffy pencil brush. Can never get too many of those in my life. Reminds me very much of my beloved A12 from Spectrum. Love this kind of brush. Great for blending on the lower lash line. You saw me use it just to blend those two colours on my lid. Just any detailed sort of blending job. I used it in my inner corners as well for my highlight there. So that one's a great one. And the JS12, which is a bit more flexible and longer version of that, to blended my shade Courtney there using that one. So those three I really enjoy. I like the shape of the JS9, so that was the one that I applied the shade in my outer crease there with. It's got a point so it's quite precise to get into your crease. Though it looks like a big brush, it's quite easy to be more precise with it, and it does blend at the same time. So I like that. The JS5, the only use I think I will have for that one, so that was the one that I laid down the Courtney shade in my crease as a transition. That's really all I think I'll be able to use it for, because it is so big. So great for laying down your initial shade, or maybe setting your lids if you do that. But that's really all I can see me using it for. And then this one, for me, I'm not so much a fan. This is the JS11. So this is the one that I packed on the purple shade with. It's a bit too big for my eyes. Like if you see it next to my eye, it's quite big. So you can't get very precise. I think middle of the lids or in that corner, I could turn it on its side and kind of make it work. But a little bit bigger than my preference. If you've got bigger eyes than me, you might like it. I've not used the JS8, so can't comment on that. It's a super big fluffy brush, would serve the same purpose in laying down your first transition shade and blending it out, I think. This brush is a dupe for one that's in the original set, the JS6, and I know I like this brush because it is a bit more precise. Yeah, very similar to the Sigma E25, just for reference if you are familiar with that brush. The Sigma E25 is a bit more rounded, this one's a bit more tapered and a bit smaller. So definitely know I like this brush. I've used it a number of times from the other set, which is why I didn't use it in today's one, because I knew I already had an impression on that. And the JS14, which was the precise liner brush. I love that it's a bit stiffer, because if you were doing wing liner, which I didn't do today, I think you could get a really like precise kind of line to start you off. It wasn't a good kind of liner day for me. I kind of had to keep going over it to get the lines even. So, but it wasn't the brush's fault, and the brush is really nice, and it's got that little tip to protect it as well, which is good. I think you could use it as an outline on your lips brush as well to clean up there if you wanted to. So not sad I bought the set at all. I think the standout brushes for me, if you were only going to pick up individual brushes, would be those four. So the JS10, which was the more precise application brush, the JS12, the JS13 and the JS6. They would be my recommendations if you're only going to pick up a few. But I'm not sad I've got them all. I just need more volume of brushes. I get through so many brushes, and just getting them washed and back into rotation quickly enough is a struggle. So I just wanted volume of brushes. So if you were planning to pick them up, as I say, there is a discount code that you be able to use on the Morphe site. As I say, I don't know if it applies to all locations, but definitely on the UK site. There's 25% off, so if you got 25% off, you'd be paying £30 for 10 brushes including a case. It's not a bad deal. I think they're pretty good quality. So if you like the style of the brushes and you don't mind having a mix of synthetic and real hair in one set, then they are Vinyl Beauty approved. But if you wanted to just pick up one or two, as I say, they would be my recommendations. So Hope the video has been useful. Hope you've enjoyed seeing me create the eye look. I kind of took inspiration from the sneak peeks of the pictures for the new Dominique Cosmetics Celestial palette in terms of the colours that I've chosen, but I probably still will be picking that up because it looks gorgeous. But if you're new here, you enjoyed the video, then I'd love it if you would consider subscribing before you go. Other than that, guys, that brings us to the end. Hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's video. Bye.